Hey guys, how's it going? I've got a patch analysis video for you today about the 6.821 update, Rekindling Sol update, and I read a little bit of it, and holy shit, it is so exciting. I read it this morning. I was really excited. I can't wait to try it out. There's some really like massive changes, but I'm gonna basically go through the patch on this webpage and give you my thoughts, my views, and hopefully maybe some of the stuff that's a little hard to understand. I can help you with that. So, Rekindling the Sol, I think it's all about they've released an Arcana for the Shadow Fiend. Don't know what this is all about. Yeah, it's all the same. But yeah, it looks like this here. It does look really cool. So you get a load of the usual Arcana stuff, new voice, portrait, stuff like that. I don't know whether I'll get it, but it'd be very tempting. It looks really cool and well worth the Arcana. As well as that, there's some other small changes like within the game itself, not like any specific heroes. So you've got new items for heroes. I do really like this Luna mount. Was that the Luna mount? Lil Nova it's called, and this courier morph is really cool. So whoever buys the courier, it stays like that, that specific courier, like for the Pudgeling, for example. But in this one, when your item gets delivered to you, and the moment it's about to deliver item to you, it becomes your equipped courier, so it will still be seen. Fantasy Season 2, and that was really cool. I enjoyed the Fantasy Season. We had 10 people, had a little league. It wasn't, it was a bit weird, because if you knew sort of within the upcoming couple of months who was playing the most, they'd get the most points, so a bit weird. But the coolest one I think of this is Fight Recap. They have it in League of Legends, I believe, and they have also, some, I think Beyond the Summit have their own one. Well, but obviously an in-game one is obviously going to be a lot more accurate, and it does look really good. So basically, if there's a big team fight, you're watching it in game in the client. The casters or whoever can bring this up. I don't know when it comes up. I guess you can choose, or it's intelligent enough to know when it's a team fight. And it brings up the use spells and the health and the damage and the experience change. It's just really helpful. So the update. Some of the biggest change. There's a map change. So all around Roshan has been changed. This is at this moment this puts everyone on a level playing field. I don't know how, because actually I have some pictures here. I'm going to show you guys. Stolen from someone. I was on Reddit. But here's the change with Roshan. It was pretty good around Roshan there, because there were the stairs. There was a lot of fog of war you could play with, but you can't do that so much anymore. But I think what this is aiming to do is it makes it a lot easier for Radiant to Roche, a bit easier to get in those team fights. So, because what you could do is you could sort of just hide up on the high ground, because it used to be sort of like around here, I think. So you could hide up on the bit of high ground. You could scout out for your team, especially if you were the Dire. But now you can't do that. It's a lot more level footing, which I think is fair enough. And here's some more changes. The pathing, I believe the tower's been moved back just a fraction. But I can see here there's some pretty good juking areas. You could eat through some trees and it'd be quite interesting. Here's another one. And on the Radiant side, the shop has been changed a bit, so it's easier to reach, which I think is fair enough, because on the Dire it's a lot easier to reach a secret shop. You could maybe do some, I think there's a path there, that's quite interesting. Another view of it. And here, these trees, this used to be all trees, but now it's not. So actually, so that makes the off lane for the Dire a little safer, I think, because there should be some vision through these trees. At least during the daytime, anyway. And this looks about the same. It's a little changed, I think. So yeah, if we go back to here. So that is going to be really big. And there's a new rune, the gold rune of justice, which is crazy. So this rune gives you bonus XP and gold. I don't know how much times, probably like 1.5 times or something like that. For a certain amount of time, just like any rune, but it's also always spawns. So at 2 minutes, 2 runes spawns. So it's either going to be at one end, it will be the usual 4 3. Haste, DD, double damage, invis, and regen, so 4. And then the other one will be the bounty rune. So I imagine it'll fill up your bottle just the same. So if you're in the mid lane, you know, there's usually always like you're fighting for the rune control. But now I don't think it's going to be quite so important, and I would almost say getting this rune is going to be a lot more important than getting any of the other runes, which is kind of weird to say, unless you're looking to gank. This is going to be really big and really boost. I'm not sure if I like it, but we'll see. Crimson Guard, right? Yeah, so this is a new item, I believe. It was in Year of the Beast. Can't remember what it did, but new items are really exciting. I don't think I've ever seen a new item, like a brand new item, in my time playing Dota. That's been about a year and a half. Bloodseeker and Phantom Lance have been reworked. That goes into more detail, but they got a couple of new skills which have been changed out, so that will be interesting. So they have been taken out of Captain's mode for obvious reasons. And now here's the changelog. Interesting stuff. I mean, I've read about halfway through this. No, halfway through the heroes. I completely forgot about the items. I hope this video doesn't go on too long, so I'll skip through some of the more basic stuff. So Fountain area is now higher elevation. So that's your like big base bit, where you heal and stuff. So it's got more vision, more true vision, and attack range is slightly increased. I guess this helps with anyone's like base camping you kind of thing. Terrain, yeah, here's the Roshan area. It's kind of what I explained. You can read through this, I'm sure, in your own time. Here are the pictures. My bad. But yeah, it looks really, really exciting. And it's always a change. I like this because it puts everyone on a level footing, at least for a while, in terms of the knowledge of the map. Bounty rune, yeah, 2 runes now spawn every 2 minutes. So the same as, well, every 2 minutes is the same interval. One of them will always be a bounty rune. Runes are placed every 2 minutes, replaced. I don't know if that was the same as before, I'm not sure. Deny creeps give less experience. I think this is 50% experience instead of the consistent 36 per unit. Yeah, so this promotes denying, and I think, you know, it's always good to deny, but this will mean if you're just like that a little bit better at denying and last hitting, they still get you accelerate a bit more. First blood bonus gold decreased. 50 gold, I mean, there's a fairly big difference, but it's not massive. Rework bonus area effect XP. Only affects the extra XP given if within an area after a kill. Okay, this is a little bit too technical at the moment, but basically, I think. Just thinking. Oh yeah, so basically this. Oh no, this is the really big one. This is a really big one, yeah. So basically, the bigger the difference, it massively increases how much gold and experience you get. So if you're level 6, you manage to kill a level 12, you elevate a lot quicker. And this also includes like if you're behind in a team fight, like you're behind in the whole game, you have a team fight, you win the team fight because you've got some big ultis, you gain more experience and gold from it. And this is really, really big, really big. It allows you to come back a lot easier. So where before, you know, if you're like 30k XP gold down or whatever, you say XP and gold, you suddenly come back. So it should make things a lot more interesting, and you don't want to give up when you think you're behind, because you get that one team fight and you're back in it. Glyph fortification is refreshed whenever you lose a tier 1 tower. That's cool. I like it, but it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit cold. So I'm sure you can hear tier 2 tower armor increase from 2025. Fairly big, but it won't make. I guess this kind of stops the early push a little bit more. I think these, which is pretty important actually. I think because obviously it's all big push lineups at the moment, which kind of can suck. Tower bounty gold from destroying tier 1, so it's just you get less gold. A lot less gold. Jesus. I didn't read this properly, I just read it was reduced. That's actually really big because it helped out your supports a lot. Getting early towers. Captain mode, the third ban phase order is swapped. I think that's, yeah, okay. So that's not too big there. Reworked how, I like this. Reworked how all pick works in ranked matchmaking. Sorry. So basically, picking starts after 35-second strategy period. So basically, just you think about what you want to do, chat to your team or whatever. So teams then alternate pick. Whenever it is a team's turn to pick, everyone on that team can pick for themselves. Okay, yeah, so I get it. Teams have up to 30 seconds to pick a hero. If the timer expires, each player has to select a hero lose 2 gold per second, like it is in the normal unranked matchmaking. Unranked all pick. The selection will stay on the team's hero until it is picked, though. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So you lose a lot of gold for not picking, and you could theoretically lose all your gold. Once selection is made, it immediately switches to the other team to pick. Cool. This just makes it, before in ranked matchmaking, you could like all pick ranked matchmaking. It would be quite annoying because even in like non-ranked, but I guess this will promote playing ranked because you pick your heroes. The timer for losing gold would go for the other team. They'd pause the game, or even not unpause, see what heroes you've picked, and then straight away just counter them, and they'd lose like 10 gold or something. Whoop-de-doo. So you've got heroes that counter the other hero team. It was really annoying. Initial starting team is random, but known at the start of the strategy period. That's quite important as well. If a team is not picked and continued losing gold for more than 3 seconds, a player that hasn't picked will be assigned a random hero. Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Right. So yeah, I think this is really big, and I think it will promote playing all pick ranked. Aegis duration decreased from 6 to 5. That's pretty big, so you want to use it soon. Like, you can't don't want to hold on to it for too long. Roshan slam area increased, and Roshan slam damage increased. Small buffs to Roshan. I think this will be fairly important. Oh yeah, here's the neutral stuff is swapped around. So the Hellbear now has the swiftness aura. I guess it doesn't make much sense in terms of, because you always think of centaurs being swift because they're kind of horses. But hey, so I think they're going to be quite important, especially if we're playing Enchantress, Chen, that sort of stuff. But I'm going to leave. I'm not going to talk about those too much. Following abilities can cost and spell immune target allies. Ice Armor, Surge, Alacrity, Nature Skies, Chakra Magic, Recall, and Miscall. I think this is good because I think in the last patch they did it for a couple of things. For example, although it was Repel, Omni Knight's Repel, you could still get ulted. He uses ulti, Guardian Angel. But I think they're trying to make it a bit more consistent, so like buffs aren't blocked. So if you're trying to buff your ally with one of your spells, but they've got if they're magic immune, you can still cast stuff, which I think is which is pretty good. It's important. And all these are now dispellable. I never really saw how important or properly dispellable. I think it's sort of like one of these smaller mechanic kind of things that might be quite important in a very specific situation. But I think it's just adding some sort of level of continuity. Dark Pact, Crack and Shell, Photic Shield, Press Attack, Time Lapse no longer have special condition for purging the following otherwise unpurgeable spells: Poison Over, Heaven's Halberd, and Snare, and I've Scarred is slow. Okay, yeah, once again, just trying to even it all out. So, heroes, just have a drink. So far, they're just. It sounds like they're trying to sort of stop the big, the big push. The big gold advantage you get from pushing early with the extra early hour tower gold, and they're trying to, with this sort of spell immune targets can actually have stuff cast on them by your allies. It's trying to sort of make things a bit more consistent across the board. And also, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the reworked experience and gold is, it makes so it will make the game more exciting as a whole, because even if after 20 minutes a team is stomping, there's still it's a lot more likely for the other team to be able to come back from a big deficit, because they get a big increase in XP and gold. So heroes, some of these are really, really needed and quite good. Abaddon, Mistquall, mana cost rescaled. I guess at the beginning 50 mana is, 75. That's fair enough. Small, I'd probably say buff in the end, because at level 4 only costs 5 more mana than it originally did. Alchemist, Acid Spray, Nova Arm increased by 1 at all levels. Just makes it slightly better, that's fair enough. Anti-Mage, Base Strength increased from 20 to 22. Just a little bit more HP in lane at the beginning, so small buff there. Axe, Counter Helix, chance to activate, increased from 17 to 20. And Culling Blade no longer ignores Slinking Sphere, so a small buff and a small nerf. I'm not sure this was needed, but I guess Axe isn't played at the moment, so kind of needed. Bane, this is a pretty cool one. Aghanim Scepter Fiend's Grip now also causes anyone who attacks Bane while he is channeling to be afflicted with Nightmare. So Nightmare being his one of his, I don't know what number ability is, but basically you're held in like a stasis where you take damage, and then anyone that attacks you physically auto attacks you, they get the Nightmare on themselves. So I guess this will stop people because Bane's very squishy, being a support hero and all, intelligent support hero. This means you can't just nuke him down like really quickly with your high DPS carries. I guess this will you'll still need to get BKB, because you could be stunned or anything like that. So I think this means like any sort of physical damage, right click damage, not magic damage. So buff, definitely. I like additions of Aghanim Scepters are always interesting, and there's something that's been added over the last couple of patches to heroes that don't have Aghanim Scepter upgrades. Oh, my throat is going out. Right, Flaming Lasso cooldown increased minorly. Not huge. I mean, Bat Rider hasn't played huge amounts anyway, so it's fine. Beastmaster, another big one. I like this. Wild Axe damage type from composite to physical. Yeah, I guess makes things a bit easier to remember, because composite's weird. Wild Axe's damage is reduced, but because it's just physical, because originally it was composite, so it would be reduced by magic and physical resistance, but now it's just reduced by physical resistance. So if you kept it the same damage, it'll kind of be stronger, but now it's kind of been reworked, so it probably does the same amount of damage. The Primal Maror has been buffed. Knockback radius increased. Side damage, same as primary damage now. So anyone caught within the channel it creates will take more damage, which is nice. Primal Roar push distance increased slightly, and duration increased. So a buff to Beastmaster, definitely. I'm not sure about the composite to physical. I guess this will make Ancienting a little easier. Anyway, Bloodseeker, so he's been reworked. He's been removed from captive mode because he's been changed so much, and increased base speed. He still has his Blood Rage has been changed. Old Blood Rage, this way, one where you silence and it silences and damages over time, but they get an increased damage bonus. That's been changed. It is now amplifies all damage taken and dealt to the hero. But if they kill something, they get 25% of the dying unit's max HP. However, if they get killed, the hero or unit that killed him will get 25% of their max health to their killer, which is quite important. It can be dispelled. So you probably want to cast this on. You don't really want to cast this on allies. This is definitely something you want to cast on an enemy, I think, because it will increase the damage they take. But you have to be careful, because if they then kill you, they get your health. but it's so it's mainly like a negative thing, because before Blood Rage you kind of want to cast on yourself because you do more damage, but in this case you take more damage. You don't get really any buffs from it apart from the lifesteal or the health you get from it. Bloodbath Bloodbath was the one where you could, if someone was below a certain percentage of hit points, you could see them. But now Bloodright has been changed to, so you target an area, an effect that is visible to enemies appears on the ground, so they can see it. It's kind of a bit like Flare, or Clockwork's Flare, Rocket Flare, whatever. And after 3 seconds, enemies in that area are damaged and silenced. Pure damage, and max level 6 silent, which is pretty good. That's a big cast range, and it's a fairly big area of effect. Costs 100 mana, so it's not cheap, but it's not really expensive. And the cooldown, this is kind of something you'd use at the beginning of a fight, I imagine. Wait, no. I'm wrong. Bloodbath is the where you kill something, you get health from it, isn't it? My bad. But he still has Thirst. So Thirst, Visibility and True Sight are granted only when the target is at below 30% instead of 50/25%. So that's a bit of a nerf, I guess. Yeah. Visibility and True Sight. I think 50% was a bit much, so I think this is a fair rebalancing actually. Thirst now shows a debuff and is visible effect to the enemy when they are revealed. Yeah, I think this is fair enough. I mean, obviously, if you're in your head, if you know there's a Bloodseeker and you're below 50%, it's kind of obvious, but makes it even more obvious. It's now proportional. So it scales, so the more health you lose, the faster he gets, as opposed to you've lost health, he's fast. Thirst, movement speed and damage bonus increased from okay, so just a slight buff. I'd say a rebalancing of Thirst. It's not really a buff or a nerf. Rupture no longer deals initial damage, fair enough, but it does last longer, and it's really important as well. So unless you TP straight away, I think you've got to run, or you've got allies to back you up. And the cooldown has been, rebalanced. Nothing too big. Oh yeah. Moving on. Bounty Hunter. He's not even going to be in the main captain's mode anymore. Bounty Hunter. Man, only on B. I don't even know how long this has been. Way too long. Bounty Hunter. Shuriken Toss now bounces to all tracked units within the 900 range. So it makes tracking really important, and it does quite a lot of damage. Shuriken Toss, and I can imagine do cool things where, so heroes running away, you throw your Shuriken Toss on an enemy that is close to the target you want to kill, and then put the track, because track travels a lot quicker than Shuriken Toss and has a further range. Brewmaster, Drunken Brawler's critical strike evasion timer increased from 10 to so it's higher at all levels apart from level 4. I think this is very good. Bit of a nerf. Brewmaster needs it, it's played too much. I'm surprised there's not any more stuff, but we'll see, that might be enough. Now Brewmother has been changed a lot because she's just a bit weird, but now Spinweb has charges, the 40-second replenish time, so it's a bit like the new Earth Spirit and Ember Spirit. Spinweb time to enter hidden mode after taking damage increased from 3 to 6. This is a big nerf. And the fact that she takes damage, she's visible for 6 seconds. She is very vulnerable for 6 seconds as opposed to 3. But Spinweb movement speed bonus is doubled when Broodmother is hidden, so you're a lot better when you're hidden. And phasing and speed bonus now works on spiderlings. I think that's much needed. They're now selectable and you can destroy them. So if you have too many on the field, they're easy to get rid of. Meaning, because originally Broodmother was sort of confined to one lane, but now she can move around a lot more, I think. So because she could place 4 in 4 in one lane straight away. Oh yeah, Spinweb can now be cast from anywhere as long as the web touches another. So you don't even have to be in lane to do it. And whenever Broodmother is taken out of Spinweb's free pathing, she destroys nearby trees. I think, yeah, this is needed because it was a bit weird because she could get trapped in trees and things like that. So basically, she's better when she's hidden, but when she's not hidden, she's a lot more vulnerable because it takes longer. And I think I remember seeing this on a Reddit post about making it charge it like sort of like a charge thing, like the remnants, and clearly they listened. Yes, you still have a total of webs, but they're now a lot easier to destroy, and then you can sort of pack your stuff up and then go to another lane. Set a wall runner stuck out. I'm going to go a lot quicker now. Mana cost increased, small nerf, whatever. I guess, yeah, that's fine. Chaos Knight Phantasm's illusion duration increased from 24 to 34. This is a very big buff if you think about it. Because they normally survive, and if you're pushing, that means you can push for a lot longer. Chen, it's another big one. Penitence duration. So penitence has been rebalanced slightly, I think, to become. Yeah, it's all just rebalancing. It now amplifies damage source directly instead of attempting to re-deal a percentage of the damage taken as physical damage. Makes sense. Penitent cast range slightly increased, and this is the other one. Holy Persuasion no longer restricted, targeting spell immune neutral creeps. Like who? I don't know. Anyway, this is cool. Aghanim Scepter now allows Holy Persuasion to target ancient creeps. Maximum 1 ancient creep per level of Hand of God. So if you're level 16, 3 levels Hand of God and an Aghanim Scepter, you can have 3 ancient creeps. That's pretty awesome. Really awesome. Clink's Searing Arrow is no longer an attack modifier, so you can get things like Desolator, Scarly. Imagine a Desolator on this guy. That's pretty crazy. Really crazy. Clink is hardly played anyway, so I think he needs it. Clockshot now pulls Clockworks for neutral creeps. Originally it would trigger him and not do it. Crystal Maiden, oh my god, she really needs a buff, and I think this might be it. Frostbite damage interval has been changed, whatever, but the total damage is now 150 at level 1. 150 level 1 new core damage is pretty insane. Freezing Field Explosion, so it's a buff, she needs it. Darkseer Vacuum cooldown has been rescaled from 28. Oh, what's up with that? I think they just wanted to do some cool animation. Rescaled from 28.0 seconds to 28 seconds. I mean, that is a massive buff. Those extra 0.0 seconds you're getting. Anyway, Dazzle. Aghanim Scepter Weave Armor reduction per second increased. So, slight buff. I mean, Dazzle's hardly played, and Weave is really strong with the right heroes along with him, such as Death Prophet. The Exorcism cooldown has been increased by 20 seconds. Much needed nerf stick attack to Death Prophet, because she's played way too much at the moment, but I'm not sure it's enough to stop her being played. We'll see. Yeah, I like this. Doom, you have been nerfed. Nerfed. Now requires Aghanim Scepter to disable passives. So Ags is probably going to have to, it's almost a must-have now on Doom if you're going to play him, because originally it would disable all things, so evasion, things like that, like blur and voids, what's it called? Dodge chance, that's it. And Doom ability cast point increased, so it takes longer to cast Doom, so a big nerf to you, boy. Drow Ranger, Frost Arrow slowly increased by a little bit at the earlier levels. It's fair enough, she's not really playing much. Earth Spirit, I love this is really cool. Added Aghanim Scepter, grants Earth Spirit a new ability, Enchant Remnant, which lets him temporarily convert a hero, enemy or allied, into a stone remnant. But not yourself. So basically this means you can make, and it must be noted, yeah, I think it was noted in here, that they are remnants, so like all remnants they are invulnerable and they don't give vision. Meaning you could save a target for 3 seconds. Or stop an enemy for 3 seconds. That alone is pretty cool, but then you can use them as a use your spells on him. I saw a cool video of let's say Void. You know, you're against a Void, he traps loads of your allies or whatever, you just turn him into a stone, pull him towards you and kick him the other way. That's pretty funny. So this is going to be really big. He's still not in captain's mode yet though, so. But this is cool. Boulder smash target now only selects units. So I guess you can choose. It'll make it a lot easier to sort of like select things, because it was always a bit weird and you weren't entirely sure what you were clicking on. Geomatic grip, silence, slightly rebalancing, stuff like that. It's not really any nerfing. Drop range has been reduced. That's a bit of a nerf. Quite a big nerf actually. Fixed dominant. It can now go through chronosphere, which is, I think, important. Oh, my throat's going out now. But this is quite big. Magnetized dominants disappear in 8 instead of 5, so they're still doing their stuff. Right. Next error, Earthshaker. Fisher no longer has unit targeting. That's pretty standard. Well, that's good. It's basically a slight nerf, but at higher skill levels, I don't think unit targeting is used too much anyway, and it no longer blocked by Lincoln Sphere. Yeah, that's always a bit weird. I guess now, because it's not a unit target ability, it won't trigger it. I'll just hide some more Aghanim Scepter stuff. Causes units that are pulled by Earth Splitter to be disarmed as well as being slowed. And the duration increased. It's pretty big. It's really big. This is another big one. Armor reduction increased. So at level 1, 25. It's gone up to 40. Just getting that one level is going to be really important. Same with magic resistance as well. Enchantress, movement speed slightly increased. Whatever. Enigma, Midnight Pulse cooldown. Yeah, it's been increased because it was buffed in the last one because it was a much bigger range, but now it's not. And Black Hole, there's just a bunch of rebalancing stuff. Yes, Faceless Void. Chronosphere area of effect is slightly reduced, but there's no. There's very. I didn't realize this, but it had 1,000 flying vision, which is really big. So it's been reduced to the Chronosphere size. Chronosphere no longer disables passive. That's a really big nerf, but I think needed because Faceless Void is OP, or was. And Chronosphere, so things like evasion, etc. Chronosphere effects no longer linger for an extra 0.5 seconds. Yeah, I remember Cinderin, I think it was, talking about how it was broken. It's been broken for this whole time. Like the debuff of you being frozen lasted an extra 0.5 seconds longer than it should have. So basically, Chronosphere is now 0.5 seconds shorter at all levels. Gyrocopter homing missile has been buffed. Fair enough. 500 damage is a lot. So for those support gyros out there, that's rather nice. Huskar. Okay, I don't really play Huskar, but cooldown has been, so that's a buff, been reduced. Berserker's Blood attack speed bonus increased at earlier levels. Life break, that's his ulti. Cooldown, it's 12 seconds a whole time. Wow. Damn it, it's been reduced. So Aghanims, wow. Might be needed, so I think it's a much needed nerf because it was a bit strong. And damage has been rebalanced yourself. Slow duration is more, so there's a lot of rebalancing stuff. So basically it scales each level, as opposed to basically being the same at all levels. Right, I think this is where I read up to. No, a little bit further. And then it's all new stuff to me. Well, this is going on a long time. Invoker, tornado flying vision reduced, and tornado damage. Okay. Okay, so it's more important to have Wex for the damage. Chikiro, dual breath, movement attack speed has been rebalanced, so it's worse at level 1 but much better at level 4. This is because normally you just put, with Chikiro, you just put like 1 point in dual breath and leave it at that because you wanted the attack slow, but now it might be better because 40, between 30 and 40% is a fairly big difference. Juggernaut, Oh yeah, abilities don't cancel Blade Fury, and the cooldown has been Blade Fury being his spinny thing. No longer cancel Blade Fury. Oh wow. So basically Blade Fury's had a big ass buff. And it's better. Well, the cooldown's slightly better at level 4. Level 3, okay. And level 2, 3 and 4. Heap of the Light. Mana leak. Mana removal percentage is increased. So it's the same at all levels. Duration is increased at all levels. Recall can now target invulnerable allies, such as Song of the Siren. Knockback distance. That's a big increase, so buffs. Which is nice because Kotl is hardly Blade. Okay, X marks spot cooldown. So slightly, yeah, you might want to get more than 2 points in it. My throat is really dying here at the moment. Hold on, I'm just gonna have a look. Right, we're back. Legion Commander is now in Captain's mode. This will be fun. It's always fun when new heroes enter Captain's mode. Interesting to see how the pros do it. Duel no longer disables passives. I didn't realise it did that before, but that's a nerf and a half. Overwhelming odds base damage is rebalanced. And press the attack mana has been increased. So I'd say nerfs in general, because she was a bit strong. Leshrac. These are all new to me now, so I might swear. Pulse Nova damage increased. Again? Oh wait. So it's better at earlier levels. Pulse, because normally you normally just go like 4/4/4, and then you'd start leveling into ulti, because that's when your mana pool can support it. And yeah, I didn't realise it had an activation cost. Lich Ice Armor now slows ranged heroes for the full amount, so another buff to Lich. Lina Light Strike Array increased in terms of stun duration and the cast range. So small buffs. Lion Earth Spike damage is increased at the earlier levels. Spirit Bear now has 300 mana. I didn't know how much I had before. Spirit Bear now using Hand of Minus now grants XP to Lone Druid. Right. Because originally, if you'd see some people who weren't aware of this, they'd buy 2 Hands of Midas's, or put it on the bear itself, because it gives you slightly increased attack speed. They'd use it, but then Lone Druid wouldn't get the XP from it. You get the gold, but people forget that Midas also gives you extra experience. But now that's not. Now it doesn't matter whether you have it on your bear or on Lone Druid himself. Lycan Shapeshifter no longer grants change in the base attack time. Shapeshift cooldown is now rebalanced. Shapeshift speed increased. So you're even faster. Jesus. But it has a transformation time. Wow, so it's kind of rebalancing, I think, towards the sort of nerf side of things. Yeah, more nerfy, but it'll be interesting. I think it's maybe the right amount. Magnus Empower no longer removed by spell immunity. That's nice, because you'd cast Empower on, say, your anti-mage or whoever your big ass carry is. They'll jump to the battle, use their BKB, and then they wouldn't have it anymore. But slight increase in mana cost. Medusa. Wow, so mana shielding is even better. Mystic Stake outgoing speed. Okay, fair enough, that's increased. And the return speed is decreased. So she's had, and the mana steal is increased, so she's had a buff, but she's not played. She's too much of a late game hard carry. Okay, yeah, and I think this is what people have asked for. Meepo's clones boot item slot now matches whichever slot the original Meepo's in. So for example, if you had, I don't know why you would get phase boots or treads or something like that, you would, let's say you were tread switching with your main Meepo, you'd then go to your other Meepos and the boot slot would be somewhere else and it would be on a different hotkey. That's not the case anymore. Leap speed reduced, and so like the speed at which you jump is now slower, and the distance is rebalanced. So it's worse earlier on and better later on. I mean, it's not massive by any means. Let's buff it. Nature's Cool Tree and Magic Resistance reduced from 20% to 0. Okay, so they're weaker. Necrophos, Reaper Scythe added respawn time penalty from 30% to a constant 30 seconds. That's big all times. Imagine this really early on as well. Night Stalker, Hunter in the Night attack speed increased. It's pretty, so from level 2 it's slightly better, and then level 4 is an extra 15. It's quite a lot. Darkness duration increased. So at level 1 and 2 it's better. Ogre Magi. Oh yeah, I remember my friend showed me this one. Base HP regen increased from 0.25 to 2.5. That's huge. But if you think about it, it's a bit like Nyx. He's a support hero mainly, and he's melee. So he's up front and taking a lot of damage. So I think it's fair enough. Because he's, yeah, Fire Blast damage reduction. That's fairly big at all levels, but the 2x multicast chance is increased across all levels. It's an extra 15% at level 1, an extra 10% at level 2, and also at level 3. There's always too many multicasts anyway. I'm sure I don't like this at all. Multicast spread interval increased from 0.3 to 0.4. So basically it takes slightly longer for the multicast. I don't think this is a big deal at all. It doesn't really make any difference, especially it's only 0.1 seconds. Omni Knight base armor increased by 1, and purification damage area effect increased from 240 to 260. So buffs to Omni Knight. I don't think he needs buffing. He's going to be played so much with the current meta, in my opinion. But we'll see. OD. We'll see what they've done to my OD. Essence Aura chance to activate increased. Oh shit. Oh, okay. I was about to say you just leave it at level 1. So it's gone from 40% the whole time. Normally at level 1 it would be 10, but the mana restored is worse at level 1. So you kind of still want to level it up quickly. So from 25% to 10, 15, 20, 25. And Aghanim Scepter Sanity Eclipse now always triggers the mana drain. Right, that's good. Not that you'd really normally go on Ags, it'd be much better just to go Refresher, really. Phantom Assassin Blur Minimap Hide now has the opposite effect and is active when no enemies are near. I don't get this. I'm not sure I understand this, because normally Blur, if you have a level in Blur, her little icon is not on the minimap. But only okay, so this now only works when no enemies are. So I guess if there are creeps, creeps, she's still hidden. But then as soon as you show up and you can like sort of physically see her, she comes on the minimap. Right, PL, big change apparently. Removed from capture mode, agility gain reduced massively, but his base agility is increased and strength is increased. Right, Spirit Lance, unchanged, that's when we throw it out. Phantom Rush, this is new. passive basic ability for Phantom Lancer or his illusions to quickly close the distance to an enemy. Passive with a cooldown. Triggers when issuing an attack order on an enemy unit outside of attack range. That's pretty much out of melee range. Grants bonus movement speed and phase until Phantom Lancer strikes his target. Minimum distance to trigger. So they have to be quite far away. Maximum distance, which scales the cooldown. So you really want to level this. Illusions also have his passive. If the attack order of the original target is cancelled, the speed bonus is lost. Okay. So basically, if they're more than 300 units away, but closer than 6 to 900, he gets big increase in speed and phase, meaning he can go through like creeps and stuff. Fair enough. Doppelganger, a new ability for dodging immediate danger and confusing enemies with a deceiving illusion. So that's a bit like his original Invis one. I can't remember I think it was called Doppelganger anyway. Target an area, Phantom Lancer and all nearby illusions would disappear for 1 second, then have their positions shuffled into the target area. This also creates 2 illusions of opposite types. Wow. Illusion 1 deals 0% damage and can take 100%. Illusion 2 deals 20% damage and takes 600 damage. Last 8 seconds, 600 cast range, that's quite large. Target area radius 3 to 5. Fairly small, but illusion gather range is quite big. Mana cost doesn't cost very much mana. 10-second cooldown as well. And you can dodge incoming projectiles, and allies can see which is the one that takes 100% damage. So it's a bit weird. Disappear for a second. So instead of just like a straight up disappear act and run away, it's more confusion based. Which is interesting. I'll be very interested to see how that works. I can't really comment on it before seeing it. It's juxtaposed. Sounds like it's the same as before, whereas when he attacks, it creates more illusions when attacking. I don't understand how this is any different. 8. They don't last as long, but it's the chance. I imagine the number of illusions and the chance has been increased. And these illusions work with Phantom Rush. Sounds like. Sounds a bit weird, but juxtaposed kind of sounds the same. I guess it's just been really, the numbers have been really reworked. I never really played Phantom Lancer much. Cool. Phoenix. Added Anakinim's Scepter. Allows Phoenix to cast Supernova on an allied hero, bringing both the Sun and the Reborn together. This does not refresh either hero's ultimate. 500 cast range. If the Sun is destroyed, both heroes will die. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Okay. So you can save an ally, basically. Possibly. There'll be some interesting, like, cool little jumps and stuff you can do with that. Pudge. Turn rate improve. So what you could do is throw some big guy in, like someone, and they use all their spells on him. Then you save them with the Supernova because they're not expecting it. Pudge turn rate improves, so you can turn around a bit better. Slide buff, whatever. Puck Dream Coil can no longer ignores invisible units or illusions. Buff Aghanim Scepter Dream Coil Snap Stun now pierces spell immunity and duration is increased. So yeah, buff to Puck because we played a moment. What? Pugna. Life Drain can now be targeted on allies' units, allowing Pugna to drain his own life into them. Interesting. I like that. That's really cool. So basically, someone on your team is dying in the front lines, you could sacrifice your own health to give it to them. That's really cool. I like Pugna. He's really fun. That's gonna add some more interesting stuff to him. Quid of Pain. Base attack time increased. Minor buff, remove unit targeting from Sonic Wave. Didn't even know you could do that. That's her ulti. Sonic Wave final area effect increased. Oh, sweet. So it's a buff to Queen of Pain. She needs it. She really does. Razor Plasma. Oh, this guy needs a nerf. Let's have a look. Plasma Field minimum damage from. Has been. What was it originally? So it's just been nerfed a little. No. Yeah, it's been nerfed. So if you're close up to him, it deals a lot less damage. Static Link no longer ignores Link and Sphere. Oh wow, something that can stop Static Link. Static Link mana cost has been increased for the earlier levels. Fair enough. 20 was a bit low. Either Storm no longer lingers through ages reincarnation. That almost sounds like a bug as opposed to like a meant feature. Ricky. Oh god. And this looks interesting. Base movement speed reduced from 300 to 290. So it's a bit slower. Base damage reduced by 10 is a lot worse, but I guess he's got backstab. Base HP regen reduced from 1.5 to the default 0.25. So that's all nerfs, but permanent visibility is now a basic ability, but is slightly worse, and improved HP. So it's a bit like more like Slark-like. Blink Strike is now ultimate, and you can target spell immune, and you get so only a small bonus damage, and it has charges. 30 seconds. Okay. Mana cost is slightly reduced, and the range is increased. This will be interesting, really interesting to see what happens with this, because Ricky was very dependent on getting level 6, but now not so much. And that is big HP regen. It'll be interesting. But I like it. I like the change actually. Might actually make Ricky a viable. But all Invis heroes, I guess it will stop him being such a pub stomper at like the earlier, lower MMR levels. So Shadow Demon, getting there. We're getting there, guys. I know it's been a long one. Soul Catcher now amplifies damage by 20, 30, 40 instead of attempting to real deal 20. I see. Okay. So this is like a straight up increase. So you hit him for 100 damage, he'll could take an extra 50. Aghanim Scepter Demonic Perk charges increase from 2 to 3. Wow. That's big. That's a really big deal. You could slow 3 people. Oh, gotta play Shadow Demon with an X. That's if you rush it, you could purge 3 people in one go. That's insane. Shadow Fiend, Necromastery Soul cap increased. Oh, at the earlier levels. Requiem of Souls, that's his ultimate. Debuff is now applied when the wave hits units instead of slightly smaller area independently. And Requiem of Soul slow is increased slightly. So buffs or Shadow Fiend. He's not really played them much at the moment. Shadow Shaman, Shackle's mana cost rebalanced. So more at level 1, less at higher levels. Mass Serpent Ward cooldown increased by 10 seconds. It's a bit like Death Prophet. It's like a slight nerf to his ultimate, so he can't push quite so much. Silencer. Glaze of Wisdom percentage intelligence to damage has been rescaled, so it's better at higher levels. Make it even more viable carry. Global Silence mana cost has been increased at the level 2 and 3. Fair enough. So I say that was still a buff to Silencer. He's definitely more carry now. Skyroth Mage Concussive Shot movement slow rebalanced. So worse level 1, better level 4. And it's now disjointable. I like this. So you could like blink out the way or whatever. Mystic Flare damage is now down to over 2.2 seconds instead of 2. I guess that's a slight nerf, but Scarf Mage. Yeah, I feel like he's in about the right place now. Slardar, Slithering Crust stun duration increased a lot at level 1, 2, and a little bit of 3. Slark is no longer visible inside Chronosphere during Shadow Dance. Basically, big FU to Void. I didn't even know he was visible, because I thought he was supposed to be invisible for everything. Anyway, slide by headshot. Please nerf, please nerf. Headshot now causes 0.5 second 100% miss chance and an AS slow as opposed to a stun. Thank you. So we slowed instead of a stun. Shrapnel area effect has been increased. Wait, 100% MS and AS slow. I don't even know what those are. I should. Why did I say mischance? Ugh. Whatever. Basically, it's not a stun, so you're slowed. So 100% slow though. Movement speed and attack speed. Okay, I know what they are now. So, actually I don't know whether that's better. So you're not stunned, meaning it won't cancel challenging abilities and stuff, but you are basically stationary for 0.5 seconds as opposed to 0.25 seconds. We'll see, we'll see. This is an attempt to make it less bullshit. Spectral dagger movement speed change. Better at all levels? Yes. Spectral dagger projectile speed is slightly reduced. So around 800. Spear breaker, charge of darkness cooldown. Bloody hell! From 35 to 12? What is that? But it is, the cooldown is triggered when the charge hits its target or is cancelled instead of when it cast. Okay, that makes it less bullshit, because otherwise you're just, it would take about 12 seconds to charge from one end to the other, so then you could just continually charge. And now Empowering Haste can be cast as opposed to passive. But I guess it's passive as well, but it can be cast to improve aura by 50% for 6 seconds. And while it is on cooldown, it is weaker. Okay, that's cool. Greater best damage from... So it's better at the earlier levels. Okay, so I'd say that was buffs to Spirit Breaker, really. Storm Spirit, Ball Lightning mana cost per 100 units from... So the initial... I don't know what that's going to balance as. I can't be bothered to do the maths. Whether it's better or worse. Sven. Oh, he's got an Aghanim Scepter. I don't think I was going to use... Wait. Well activated, God's Strength grants an allied aura. This makes him more like a support. But no, this is weird because Sven, I don't think he's a support hero. He has some support abilities. This will kind of make it more viable support. But you want to go those, like, get that crit and stuff if you're going carry. You don't want to go Aghanim Scepter. It'll be interesting. Ugh, tackies. Ugh. Go away. Landmines cooldown slightly better. Stasis trap stun duration has been reduced greatly. And the activation now matches the stun area. Okay, I think that's good. So it's less of a big stun, but it's more easy to activate. Stasis trap duration now lasts longer as well. Remote mine increased from 8 to duration, so yeah, they last longer, so that's a buff. Remote mine vision is reduced though, and the area is the same at all levels. Bat Rider and Firefly, and yeah, they no longer get, so flying stuff doesn't get triggered by landmines basically. Getting near the end of the heroes. Temporal Assassin Sonic Trap cooldown has been decreased at the later levels. Terrorblade. It's now in Captain's mode. This will be fun. Sunday cast point improved. Thank you. It always took so bloody long to cast. That might make him a bit OP. We'll see. Tidehunter Anchor Smash damage reduction. So it scales now. I think at level 1 60% was a bit much. So it's a bit of a nerf. Timsaw Aghanim Scepter. Whoa! This is actually viable though, because Timsaw could get an Aghanim Scepter. A second Chakram. Don't know how that will be controlled, but we'll see. That's really good. I like that. March machines no longer affect spell immune targets. Ancient creeps are no longer spell immune and no longer affected by march on the machines. So goodbye ancient stacking farming tinkers. Much needed nerf. Surprised they haven't really done more. Tree and Protector. Nature's Guide's mana cost is reduced at all levels. Iron Scepter grants a new ability, Eyes in the Forest, which allow Treant to enchant trees to spy on its enemies and expand the area of overgrowth effects. This is amazing. So basically you use Eyes in the Forest on a random tree somewhere. Well, it won't be random. You'll want to choose somewhere nice which gives vision, and then when you use your ulti, it will have like a little mini ulti to go with it. That's cool. Troll Warlord. Ranged Willing Axes cooldown from 20 to 17 seconds. Well, it scales better basically. Acquisition range increased. Okay. Tusk. Ice Shards no longer stops when it hits a hero. Huh. That's the thing, you fly out and then when it hits something it causes like a little semicircle around them when they can't pass through. And it creates a blockade at the max range, so I guess this makes it, I guess you could deal more damage to people, but blocking them in will be a lot harder. But Snowball is better. Ice Shard now destroys trees. Allies can now click in the snowball to jump into it. Ha! I like that. That's really good. Don't want to click wrongly though, otherwise might get a bit upset. Undying Tombstone area of effect is increased. Buff! Undying is too strong. He's really good. Aghanim Scepter Flesh Golem damage amplification increased by 5% on all levels. Cool. Flesh Golem slow aura increased as well. Nice. Finish Spirit. Never Swap range has been increased at level 1 and 2. No, level 1. Not as good at level 2. No, better at level 2 and the same at level 3. Poison Nova applies its debuff on spell immune targets. Okay. So basically, it won't do damage, but when they come out of spell immunity, like BKB runs about that, whatever, Poison Nova then starts to affect them. So that's a big buff. Corrosive Skin has been nerfed. And Corrosive Skin cannot be reflected multiple times. Fair enough. Visage, Familiar Stone form cooldown. Okay, so a slight buff to his stuff. His abilities. Fatal Bonds now shares the same damage type that is dealt to it before it is reduced. Okay, so it depends whether it's physical or magical, I guess. Fatal Bonds damage percentage from 20 to 25. What, even better? But I guess maybe instead of HP removal, is now some of the damage is reduced by armor and stuff. Golem attack range increased. Whoa. Golem base attack time improved as well. HP regen's better. Immolation effect is better. But Flaming Fist is reduced. Still sounds like a buff to me. Weaver. The swarm duration is increased at earlier levels. Shikuchi no longer ignores invisible units. Okay. You learn so much new stuff and then it gets moved, because I imagine it would hurt invisible units, but it doesn't anymore. Shikuchi damage reduction. So it's not as good earlier on. Germinate attack can now proc items. Whoa. So like, I assume that means crit and Mjolnir and stuff like that. Germinate attack cooldown, but it is increased slightly. Right, nearly there at the end of Heroes. Shackle Shot max latch distance slightly increased. Shackle shot's always weird anyway, it feels like a massive distance anyway. Wind run duration increased as well at all levels. So probably an even more viable off lane with this. Witch Doctor Maledict area effect increased slightly. It was really small, still is pretty small. Death Ward bounces now behave the same as Death Ward attacks, which with regard to Blade Mail, neither redirects damage to Witch Doctor. Wow. Didn't realise the bounces used to. Reincarnation mana cost is increased slightly. I mean, Wraith King is played a lot at the moment. And Zeus static field area of effect increased. Wow. So, slightly buff there. I guess we'll move on to items. Right, back to the items. I had to take a short break there. My throat was hurting too much. Okay. So, Armlet. Recipe cost reduced from 700 to 600. That's pretty awesome. Small buff. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell these small things whether they make much of a difference. Assault Cuirass. Sora no longer displays its debuff on the enemy if the carrier is not visible. I think it's very important because if you did some smoke stuff or you were invis, if you were clever enough or the other team were experienced enough, they could probably constantly checking their debuffs and stuff to see whether the Assault Cuirass debuff is there. So I think that's fair enough. Blight King Bar. Avatar spell immunity, duration, and cooldown are now tied to the hero instead of the item. Buying a new Blight King Bar will not reset Avatar's duration. Okay. Are you saying that if you can't buy a new Black King Bar to reset the duration to 10? If so, that's really big. Blimey. Minimum immunity duration increase from 4 to 5. So a small buff there, if that is the case, but still, wow. But I also think, if that is the case, I think that's fair enough. Like, it will make you think very clearly, like, those heroes to get an early BKB, and if the game goes on too long, and they might farm up a BKB in like 5 minutes, you just get a new one. But this time, in this case, you have to think a lot more carefully about using it and when you want to buy it. Blink Dagger, gold increase. Yeah, this needed to happen because it was almost too easy for supports to get them, and then everyone would have Blink Daggers, and because there's no mana cost as well, I think it needs to be thought of as a more valuable item, so therefore it costs a bit more. Bloodstone now requires Soul Ring and 800 recipe instead of Perseverance. No longer grants plus 10 damage. Okay, so it costs less gold, I think. That's an interesting change, I'm not really sure. I guess it kind of ties into the whole Bloodstone thing where you can commit suicide with it, because Soul Ring kind of ties up a lot nicer, and I quite like that. Bottle costs more. 50, that's another last hit. Not big, but I guess it will also stop sort of maybe offlaners getting bottles. TP cooldown for boost travel is reduced, that's nice. Oh blimey. Butterfly. Butterfly now has an active ability, Flutter, which can be cast to trade Butterfly's evasion for 20% movement speed for 8 seconds. Okay, so basically, instead of wanting evasion, you can run quicker. For 8 seconds. Interesting, okay. Cloak. Cloak, Hood, and Pipe magic resistances now stack like all other normal magic resistance do. Cool. Okay, Crimson Guard, new item that's formed from Vanguard and Buckler. And a recipe. So 250 hit points, which probably the Vanguard gives you, plus 6 HP regen. Passive damage block, 80% chance for 40 for the melee and 20 for range damage. Oh, melee heroes. 20 for ranged heroes. Plus 5 armor, plus 2 to all stats. Okay. So basically it's like, because originally Vanguard would kind of drop off, I guess this gives it a bit more, that Vanguard's a new life. But it's still not, unless this active is good, I'm not sure whether it's a good item. Give nearby allies +2 armor and a damage block shell that has a 100% chance to block 50 damage. Now that's good. Passive damage block gives the wearer a chance to block damage from each incoming attack based on whether the hero equipped is melee or ranged. Isn't that just this? Guard only affects heroes. Has the same no stacking mechanic as pipe of insight / mechanism. That's big. If you can get this early, it's like a very team fight orientated item. I'm just trying to think. Is it worth nearly 4k gold? I'm not sure it is. I think it'll be quite a situational item. And it will be good on, definitely good on, like, I guess, Axe or Elder Titan, those sort of heroes. Like, it's not worth getting it on a ranged hero. Would it be worth, like, I think you'd have to rush it for it to be worth it. Would it be worth rushing on heroes like Anti-Mage? Meaning they allow a lot more survival in fights. It'll be very interesting to see. Dagon, intelligent bonus per level, and energy burst mana cost being rescaled. Wow, 180 all levels. Yeah, fair enough. Recipe is cheaper, agility bonus rebalanced, so worse at level 1, better at level 2. Feedback rebalanced. It's constant 25. Ooh, E-Blade now has a projectile. Well, it's massive, but it's not an instant cast, I guess. So you can't E-Blade Dagon like in a super quick combo and then blink out. Give you a chance to activate your BKB, I guess. Ether Blast now only turns the caster ethereal if they target themselves. Okay, so you can basically use it as a Ghost Scepter. I've Scuddy buffed to attack speed slow increase. Flying Courier basement with speed. Well, that's increased a lot. Flying Courier now has 50% extra damage from melee heroes. Flying Courier speed burst cooldown increased from 40 to 90. Whoa. What? The speed burst is from 20 to 4 reduced. Okay, so you only get 4 seconds of speed burst, but the speed is increased a lot, and the overall speed of the courier is increased a lot as well. That's really interesting. So speed burst isn't such a big deal. So I guess it's kind of more for like, you just only really want to use the speed burst for maybe escaping or getting it to you just in like a fight zone or something. Helmet Dominator now provides +3 HP regen. Dominator units now have 250 bonus HP. That's cool, because the Dominator ability doesn't really get used very much. Advanced HP regen is increased from 8 to 9. Matches components. Fair enough, very similar to the Helmet Dominator. Lincoln Sphere. Lincoln Sphere only blocks Wrath of Nature's initial bounce, not subsequent bounces. Only blocks Lightning Storm's initial bounce, not subsequent bounces. Nether Ward no longer triggers Lincoln Sphere. Lightning Bolt now triggers Lincoln Sphere when targeted at the ground. Okay. Maelstrom and Mjolnir now no longer trigger Lincolns. Okay, I think that's fair enough. Recipe increase for Maelstrom. Yeah, it's been picked up too much. Mantis Style. Mirror image vision type changed from unobstructed / flying ground. Previously, using Matter Style granted brief unobstructed 1,000 radius glimpse of caster's surroundings. I did not know that. So basically, it's now just normal illusion stuff. Recipe cost is reduced though. Mask of Madness recipe reduced. I always felt 1,000 was a bit long. Mechanism, restore mana cost increased. So is that to cast it, it's increased. Maybe. How is that HP increase? Matches components. Right. Fresher Orb. Resets cooldowns. Cooldown. So basically the cooldown of Refresher Orb is 25 seconds more. Is what I take from that. Ring of Protection is slightly better but costs more. Sentry Ward, True Sight area effect increased by 50. Shadowblade, yeah, Shadowblade needed a change. It's not picked up really anymore because it doesn't last long enough and the mana cost is too high. But at least you do an extra 25 damage. Now, Shiva's Guard, Freezing Aura no longer displays its debuff on the enemy. Okay, the same as the Assault Cuirass thing. And TP Scroll now is 35 gold less. Damn, that is cool. That's really cool. Quite scary. But as a support, that is massive. I mean, to anyone, but specifically. I like that a lot. Okay, there's damage type changes. Whoa, okay. Okay, a few abilities and damage type mechanics are being reworked. There are now 3 primary damage types and a spell immunity piercing status. With each ability now carries a notation on the tooltip indicating this. The 3 damage types are physical, magical, and pure. So there's no composite anymore. Physical is affected by physical armor, magic is affected by magical resistance, and pure is affected by neither. Magic immunity has now been renamed to spell immunity. Spell immunity only defines if spells interact with it, not how damage itself is handled. This means that on its own, spell immunity status does not reduce any damage. Okay. Black King Bar, Repel, Rage, and all other previous forms of magic immunity now grant spell immunity status and 100% magical resistance bonus. In the vast majority of cases, the interactions are the same. However, an example of a case that would be different is if an ability that has both spell immunity exception and pure damage type. Previously, the damage would not have any impact, however, now it does. Okay, I'm trying to think. I'm sure they're going to give some examples. Ability tooltips now have these sort of damage type, physical, magical, pure, pierces, spell immunity, yes or no. This is really good actually, because originally you'd have to just know. Like if you was new to the game, you just have to learn that some spells, some of these weird interactions that happen. For example, Earthshaker's ultimate. The initial damage does pierce spell immunity, and it will hopefully have this on it now. If the damage type is not magical, it will be coloured differently, making it easier to notice. The same is true of cases where pierces spell immunity is yes. There have been a few abilities rebalanced with these mechanisms in mind. In some cases, the intent is to maintain similar balance. In other cases, as an adjustment to their balance. Alchemist, acid spray damage type from composite to physical, but it pierces spell immunity. Okay, because originally composite might. Acid spray damage reduced because of this. Bane, nightmare damage from HP removal to pure. Okay. Beastmaster, wild axe's damage from composite to physical still pierces spell immunity. Right, okay, so basically originally composite damage would pierce spell immunity. Well, no, it would go through magical immunity because it was physical damage, but composite, because part of it was physical damage, but now they've changed the type to physical with the sort of attribute of piercing spell immunity. So it just makes it clearer, because they got rid of composite and then added this, whether it goes through spell immunity, because you're casting a spell. Wild Axe is a spell. Brewmaster Primal Splitter, pulverized damage type from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical no longer pierces spell immunity. Doom damage type change from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. And because of this, the damage is reduced because it's pure as opposed to magical by okay, that makes sense. I'm really sorry about my cough. Yeah, Echo Slam initial damage is now the same magical damage type as the rest of its damage. Oh, okay, but now the initial damage does not pierce spell immunity. Midnight Pulse damage type changed from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity, but the damage has been reduced. I'm not going to go through all these because it's fairly, there's just small things which I'm sure you can all read yourself. Additional notes: composite damage. This damage type has been removed. HP removal. This is no longer considered a damage type and its remaining uses are as an alternative cost to mana for spells to use Sunray and Burning Spears, or as functional HP modifications, Armlet Sunder. These are now considered usage costs in the game and are never lethal. I think what we can take from this is that they're trying to make it more universal and get some of those quirky mechanics out of the way to make it easier, not just for like new people, but even like more experienced players who, like myself, I don't know some of the weird interactions I have no idea about. But now will all become really a lot clearer, which I think is great. Like really, really good. And they've done it in a way that won't affect the actual gameplay, but it will affect your understanding of it a lot more, which is really good. Really, really, really good actually. So well done, Valve. I'm very impressed so far with this whole update. It does seem to be really, really good, and the biggest one from this has got to be this. Makes such a big difference. So yeah, in terms of items, I've got to say that this is the biggest one. 35 gold. This so many times, so I had to sit in base, just wait for that extra 35 or whatever. I mean, they've added a new item, but I don't see this item being used very much. And in terms of heroes, I think I feel like they've done some good stuff. I like the Aghanims upgrades for like Timber Saw and Tree and Protector. That was really cool. I'm just scrolling through to try and see anything else that I think is really big. In terms of heroes, I think they've done the right things so far. I mean, time will tell. I mean, Faceless Void, massive nerf, but he's picked like every game, and the same with Doom. I think that's all really needed. I think this might be really OP now. What else is there? I like the Bloodseeker, and the Bloodseeker rework seems quite cool. I'm not sure about the Phantom Lancer. Well, I guess time will tell. And I like how that goes back to this whole like universal, trying to get rid of these quirky mechanics, these attack modifiers, and these, does it affect magic immunity or not, or spell immunity now, which is good. And the other big one is these two here. How if you're more behind, like the further behind you are, if you win a team fight, you get brought back into the game more from this bonus XP and gold you get because of the bigger differences, which yeah, is really cool. And I like the map updates. Obviously, is going to be massive as well. I don't remember a time this happening in the last year and a half, so it's pretty crazy. And obviously this fight recap thing is fantastic. I bet it's gonna be really good to see. Really good to see. So thank you Valve. Hopefully nothing is too broken. and also thank you for watching my video. I know it's been a ridiculously long one, but I hope you learned something. I'm really pumped for this. I can't wait to actually try it out and see what happens. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, as I will be doing, possibly, hopefully daily videos of Dota. So for now, see you guys soon.